Kia ora, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of The Drop Clutch with me, Ricky V. In this series, I'm interviewing as many metal drummers from around New Zealand just to try and get an insight into what makes them tick. So tonight is really exciting for me. I wore my shirt specifically. We have arguably one of the premier drummers in the country in any genre of metal. I have Stephen Bernstein. He is the drummer for Sialism, Flesh Merchant, which is a awesome thrash band. It's just so damn good. And of course, one of my favorite bands, MetalTower. Steve, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, all good, man.
Fuck yeah,
Fucking
awesome.
splendid. Just finished work, just cracked the beer, and I'm on the pad, as you do.
Hey, got to get that
After work.
practice then, eh? Sure. So, for starters, why don't you tell
Yep.
us about the bands that you're in? Tell us about the history. Give us some rundown on that.
Okay, well, this could go for a little while because there's a few. Obviously, the main one for me is MetalTower. We're coming up on 20 years this year. So there's something to look out later in the year. We'll be doing a 20-year anniversary show, probably around September. So look out for announcements on that. That's the main band. Sialism is another one. That's with my brother as well, Dan. So me and him are actually, and then Flesh Merchant, me and my brother Dan, we're in all three of those bands together. But we started off MetalTower together with, obviously we're brothers, but with our good friend, well, at the time, Daniel's good friend, Evan Hunt, obviously turned into my friend as well, but they're quite a bit younger than me. Flesh Merchant only came along in the last couple of years. Ollie and Bog, I used to be in a band called Blacktooth with them in the late 2000s. And they started something just for online. And when I saw it, I thought it was pretty cool. So I approached them and said, hey, let's bring it to a live format. So we got that up and running as well, just for something else to do, because I'm not in enough bands. And then I've got a local band here in Gisborne, Flay the Apostle, which is like a black and thrash band, a little bit different to the other bands, but at least I get to practice with humans every week. Where the other three bands are we're all scattered around the country, so it's a homework. The other three bands are homework bands rather than jam together. And I'm also jamming with Misanthropy, which is a death tribute band as well. So I'm filling in for them at the moment to keep them rolling as well.
Fuck
is that
yeah.
about what you wanted?
Yeah. Fuck, man. I have no idea how you make it work, being in that many bands. I'm in one and a half. I'm starting up a second one. And,
Cool.
you know,
Cool.
the amount of time that is already taken up by life, you know, I can't imagine trying to squeeze another two bands into that.
I guess me being a little bit older, I've sort of gone through the kid stage and all that. So I'm not on the retirement side of things, but I've got a bit of time to play drums. So and I hate nothing worse, to tell you the truth, than not having something to aim for. Like, say if you're only one, this is for me, if there's only one band and you got no shows, no recording, nothing coming up, when you get older, it's hard to motivate yourself to train or practice for something. So being in a bunch of bands is always something on the horizon, which is like something's only 8 weeks away, something's only 6 weeks away, something's so it keeps me in the latter years motivated to keep going, if that sort of makes sense. Yeah,
absolutely it does. Well, speaking about, we'll focus specifically on MetalTower, but obviously a couple of the bands are like this. How do you guys make it work having the musicians in different cities? Because in MetalTower, Evan's in Wellington, Sam's in Christchurch.
He's in Nelson these days.
Yep. And is Dan up in Gizzy with you, or?
No, he's in Palmerston North.
Jesus Christ.
Well, obviously at the start we played. A bunch of years there, we lived together. We played every day. For the first 8 years was pretty intense of hanging out with each other, and yeah, and just always playing, just getting to know each other, and everyone's usually has been reasonably good at their instruments. I wouldn't say any of us are amazing. Probably Dan's probably the best muso out of all of us. But we've always done our homework when we're not being together. Click tracks. Just how things have gone these days. You can do everything long distance as long as you do your homework. Simple as that, really. So it is doable. Like, honestly, it is nice to get a jam the night before a show, but sometimes it's like the first half of the first song sort of sorts you out.
Sure.
like for that Behemoth show, which was the Silism show. Like this isn't trying to be cocky or anything, but we were a little bit nervous because our last jam at all together was the Exordium Moors release show back in February, and we didn't jam at all until we played that show. So sound check was quite nerve wracking, but sound check went so well, we were like, "Now we're sweet as."
Sure, fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah. So it's just doing your homework and everyone knowing the songs. It's our songs. If you don't know how to play them, then something's a bit wrong.
Sure. So, well, what's the writing process? How do you guys formulate your songs? Is there like one guitarist writing a whole song and another one writing a whole song, or is there a collaborative?
You're talking about MetalTower generally. So I guess they still do these. Even in Daniel Wright, 95% of the music always have. Back in the day, they wrote together more when they were living together. Living in each other's back pockets. Going through school and then university and stuff like that. And they used, I think it might have been Dean on one of his episodes was explaining about using Guitar Pro 5 and writing everything in MIDI first, drums and everything, which the drums can be a bit ridiculous on Guitar Pro. And the ride and the horn and everything being hit at once and twice, and goodness gracious, and then having to decipher it. But that was the fastest way to write songs, and we've continued to do that. But then being able to put things into a thing like Reaper and actually make it a bit more real, and so Dan can do his riffs and put the drums that he has has an idea about what should be there, gives it to Evan, he puts his thing on it, they send it to me and go, this is the gist of the song, and I'm like, that's pretty close to what I'd probably try to put to it, but then put your own little flavor on it as well. So that's always been the way we've written songs since almost day dot. We've honestly, out of three, we're up to album 4 now, we might have only written 1 or 2 songs in the room together. I actually can't actually think if we ever did. I'm just hoping we did.
Wow.
I'm just not sure. Yeah. So
that's crazy, man. And all the bands, everyone that I've been in, we've always been collaborative, always been in the room working together, and everybody's making suggestions, and obviously not all of them get kept, but everybody's having an input at the moment of writing. So for that not to be the case just blows my mind, really does. Yep.
It's funny you say that, because now that I've got this band in Gisborne, Play the Impossible, this is the first band I've ever done that way, where we all sit in the room and we try to hash out a song, and I'm not used to it, so some of the songs actually take longer to write, rather than 1 or 2 people having the vision and getting to the end reasonably quickly, and whereas the other way around, it's just like, we hit a roadblock, no one knows how to get through it, and so it's a different kind of challenge, honestly. But good. Yeah.
The old saying, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, sometimes that can be a very real problem, and I'm guilty of it as anybody, so there's pros and cons to both. Focusing a little bit more on you and your drumming now, sir. What got you started drumming? I mean, you've been doing it for years. Can you remember what got you started?
I think I was about 12 or something, and the old man, he plays guitar and drums, he can play both, and he just showed me, because he always had a drum kit, and I obviously showed interest one day, and he just showed me the basic, the 4/4 rock beat, and I picked it up like I could play it straight away, and he just goes, "Oh, you'll be fine. Just take it from there." And I actually neglected drums because I got into surfing big time, being from Gisborne. There wasn't much in Gisborne to do, so when through my like up to the age of 30, I just surfed hard out and neglected drums completely. And I wish back then I took lessons. I've never had a lesson in my life, and I wish I did now. But yeah, it is what it is now. I just push through with my own versions of everything. So yeah, that's how I got into drumming. Was the old man. So yeah.
Sure, awesome. Can you tell us who some of your favorite drummers are?
That's a huge question because there's favorite drummers when you're first starting out and growing up, and then also now. But obviously Dave Lombardo. When I first heard, I think I heard "Season in the Abyss" and was it 89 or 90 when it first came out, and just hearing those drum rolls on "Expendable Youth" and "Season in the Abyss," the song and the double kick and War Ensemble that just blew my brain. Because I'd heard Metallica, I was into Kill 'Em All, I think around that era. I'd heard that and Iron Maiden and stuff, but to me that was just next level shit, and I was like, man, I should get into this a bit more.
Okay.
And that's when I started getting into like thrash bands, covering those exact bands. And then after that, it was like Death had a big influence on me. So Sean Reinhardt, Glenn Hoglan, and also oh goodness gracious, Richard Christie. Those three had a massive impact on me around late 90s, early 2000s, and also Trim from Emperor. Those were the ones that put me where I wanted to travel drum wise. I'd say would be those names. Yep.
Fantastic. So you've obviously seen a number of drummers live. Again, this is another big pool. I know it's a hard question to answer. But who is your favorite drummer that you've seen live?
Do I note that down? I can't remember actually. I've seen Dave Lombardo a couple of times, and he was out the gate good. But Francesco, when he was still drumming for Fish God Apocalypse, that was mean as.
Sure, but Eugene's amazing.
Sorry?
Eugene.
Oh yeah. I'm sort of hoping that show that Val's going to announce tomorrow or something's going to be Fish God, because I want to see Eugene. I've opened for Eugene before when he was drumming for Balfogger, but he's gone up about 2 or 3 cogs since then. So that would be mean to see.
Fuck yeah.
But live, that would be Mike Portnoy when I saw them with Dream Theater in 2012 or something, whatever it was. I can't remember. That was once again just amazing. George Callias, I was lucky enough to be his drum tech when they were here for Those Who the Gods Detest album. So I did both shows behind the kit. I actually wasn't allowed to sit behind the kit when George was playing. He didn't want anyone there. He was pretty pedantic. But Jade, who was drumming for Hate Eternal, I sat behind him and made sure nothing fell down, all that kind of shit. And that was cool to be right behind the beast like that. It was just like, oh my God. Oh my God, this is intense.
Fuck yeah. Holy
yeah. So yeah, those would be. Some have probably slipped my mind, but those were all really, really good. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How would you describe your drumming style?
Far out. I don't even know if I've got a style, to tell you the truth. Probably a little bit. What would you say? A little bit chaotic and not really straight down the middle, because I've never really learnt any until recently. I've never really learnt any proper techniques. I just muscled my way or way through stuff, and so until the last couple of years, I never really considered I had any techniques. You know what I mean? So
sure.
So yeah, I reckon my style was sort of relevant to to that. So, but yeah, those deaf guys tried to build a style onto me, but I don't know whether it worked or not as a style. I don't know. So yeah, it's a little bit chaotic, I guess, and especially some of the MetalTower stuff. Whereas Silas and Flesh Merchant are a bit more direct and straight down the middle. Less places to go and be stupid. Yeah.
Sure, I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up technique. What techniques have you been working on tightening up?
Well, the main one is always working on it is double strokes on the feet.
Sure.
I'm like 4 years into that now. During the big COVID break is when I guess that's the first time I've ever sat down and learned any technique in my life. And
Wow.
because we got told we weren't allowed to go to work or anything, and I just got my new ACD pedals at the time, and they just screamed double strokes. They wanted to do them.
Sure.
So I was lucky enough where I was living that I could get to my drum room every day during that 6 week paid holiday. And I went and practiced double strokes for 6 weeks. And that's the first time I've ever done, and it worked, I think, but it's still one of those works in progress. It's such a finicky technique especially when you still want to use single strokes as well, with pedal settings, all that kind of stuff. And also you're untraining so many muscle memories of 10, 15, 20 years of single stroke muscle memory. It confuses a lot of balance and things like that. So that's one I'm always practicing it. It's a work in progress. I don't think you'll ever have I've got it pretty good, 210 to 230 are the comfortable tempos where you can sit for a lot of bars
Sure.
in a row. And I feel you don't really have a technique down unless you play a lot of bars, not just four. 4 bars doesn't mean you've got something down, right? And some of that silism stuff goes for 16, 20 bars at whatever tempo, so yeah, and then on hands, molar technique.
True. Okay.
Is a big one, mainly for the triplet. All the bands I'm in, especially MetalTower and Silism, have a triplet feel quite often.
Sure.
Nice beat, which is a hard one to then lock your feet in because you feel like you're waddling. So yeah, those are the two that I work on the most. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Give us a quick review of the ACD pedals, man. You're one of the few in the country that's got a pair.
Yeah, I think there's about 3 or 4 of us now. Levi from Orkney's got them as well now. There's a couple of other guys as well, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they're amazing pedals. Mine are almost 5 years old. There's almost the one problem with them is they've almost got too many settings, which is why the word unlimited is there. So sometimes when you have a bad day, as I'm talking about the double stroke thing, and you think the settings is gonna, so you tinker around with it for a bit, and you go, yeah, now I've fixed it. And then you go back the next day and go, huh? Nah. But yeah, I've had my settings locked in for a little while now, and I'm just persevering with those. But yeah, at the time, I think they cost me $2,000. I think they've gone up a bit now. But I'll never have to buy another set of pedals ever again.
Sure.
So for $2,000, when you consider not knocking them, but the new pearls, I think they're 1,600 or 1,700, something like that.
The XRs, right?
Yeah. And so I think personally, I've seen Alan's ones. I looked at them, and I mean those look pretty nice. So I wouldn't know until I tried them. But yeah, I can't say anything bad about ACD stuff. It's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of the upgrade footboards on my Demon drives, and they are fantastic. They're literally an inch, maybe an inch and a half longer than the normal Pearl longboards.
Yep.
And the smoothness and the glide that they add is ridiculous. I did have to bore out. They say that they will bolt straight onto the Pearl Demon drives,
Yeah.
but I actually had to bore out one of the holes because the thread point was a millimeter off.
Oh,
So,
right.
yeah, but that's a minor thing. A minor thing. Aside from
Yeah.
that, yeah, they otherwise they bolted on just fine. And yeah, I've
Cool.
loved having them. Absolutely loved having
Yeah.
them. Cool.
Nice.
So now we're going to get to a game that I call first, last, best, worst.
Right.
I want you to tell us about the first show that you ever played, the last show that you played, the best show that you've ever played, and the worst show. Now, the worst show, it can be the worst show, worst moment, funniest moment. You know, there's plenty of funny things
Yeah.
that can happen when you're on stage.
Yeah.
So yeah, start off. Tell us about the first show that you ever played, Steve.
First show I ever played. You're not talking about any of the bands I'm in now. Just the first show I played.
The first show
Right.
you ever played.
Now I honestly can't remember, to tell you the truth, what the first one would have been. Like I remember doing a drum off at a talent quest with another mate of mine. We had two drum kits up on stage, and we did and I think we were about 13 or 14 at the time. That was probably the first show I ever did, but it had nothing to do with metal, or it was a talent quest thing.
Oh yeah.
But I'd say that was, and that just came into my brain now. I'd forgotten all about it, but that was probably the first time playing drums in a type of show like that, of any sort was that, and it was quite cool. Yeah.
Cool. The last
Yeah.
show that you played.
Last show was with Fish Merchant, basically a month ago. What's the date now? Yeah, a month ago. Supporting Unify, who was a progressive rock band here in Gisborne, their 10-year anniversary show. So it was at Smash Palace. So we closed out the night there. So that was the last show I did. Yeah.
Nice. The best show that you've ever played.
Okay, there's two here. There's two.
Okay.
There's one with MetalTower, which was opening for Carcass on their reunion tour back in 2008.
Ooh.
Not just because of the show, which was about 800 people at the transmission room. That was awesome, but the after party was just out the gate. It was like at a whorehouse, and fucking. It was just ridiculous. Anyone watching that was there will know what I'm talking about. It was out the gate. It was so good. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ben Campbell, who might be on here as well. He got them Carcass so stoned out in the spa pools that they grabbed a hooker each and ran out the door and jumped in a taxi and went back to their hotel because they just couldn't handle being around people anymore. I don't know if I was supposed to say anything, but I have now.
Oh,
and I'm pretty sure we drunk all their rider before they even arrived at the after party.
oh really?
We had the wristbands and the people behind the bar thought, "Oh, you're the band." Yeah, we're the band. So we just drinking around. Oh no, we weren't the band. We were a band. So yeah, there you go. And then the other one was the other week, opening for Behemoth with Silas, and that was out the gate good, man. The production and everything. Hats off to Ben for bringing them over, and there was the production side of it was the best I've ever done by a fair way. It was great.
Nice.
Yep.
And did you get to meet the Behemoth boys?
Not really, nah. They were on their own buzz, you know. They were on their own buzz. So, yeah, we just left into it. So, yeah.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Sure, sweet as. And then lastly, tell us about the worst show, worst moment, funniest moment. Tell us something about that.
There's a couple here too. One of them is a funny one, and this was like I can't remember the year. So let's say it was 2007, might have been 2006, 2005. I can't remember. But MetalTower played at this Waitangi festival. Like it was a family festival, like reggae and all this kind of shit. Down on the beach, Mount Maunganui, heaps of people. It was about 2,000 people there, and because Evan and Daniel were doing their Polytech course, music production in some form, and they had to do a performance type thing, and so we got chucked into it. It was only a 15-minute slot, you know, and I think we played 2.5 songs or something.
Yeah.
The songs were long, you know, and we had like kids and people just dancing to us, and it was hilarious. And we got paid $800 for a 15-minute set back then.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Fucking
And
hell.
then one of the worst ones for me personally was at the Thirsty Dog only a few years ago, and it was when I just you started using the double strokes, and you put so much pressure into the kick drum, and the kick drum was just walking away on me,
Ah,
just ridiculous, just so bad, and I couldn't play the songs. So I was playing with one foot quite often, and it was just for me. It was like everyone else seemed to think it was okay, but that's what people always say. Hey, no, it was fine. But you're like,
yeah.
fuck, it's fucking yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
those are
oh,
them. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
oh, fuck. Yeah, nah. Moving bass drums, the bane
Oh,
of every drummer's life, eh?
oh mate. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, now. Fuck yeah, now. All right. Well, this is the final part of the show, man, where you get to make any shout outs to any people, friends, bands, wives, whatnot. And also plug your shit, man. If you've got anything coming up that you really want everybody to know about, now's the time to
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Shout out to all the bands I'm in, all the bands I've been in the past. I've helped out a few live and stuff like that, and it's been a great time in general. Big shout out to Ben, obviously from Valhalla, still bringing over so many acts, almost too many for us to all keep up with. But
Mm.
and then chucking some of our bands, some of the boys that are in this doing this interview thing as well. All our bands are starting to get noticed a wee bit, and none of us are ashamed or shy to play in front of some of these mean bands either, which I think is good to see, if you know what I mean.
Fuck yeah.
Um, and then things coming up. We've got Napier Death Fest in only 6 weeks or something.
Woo!
6 weeks. So
Fuck
I'm doing
yeah.
I'm doing triple duties in there. I'm doing the Death Band, Silasm, and Flesh Merchant all on the Saturday night. And
Fuck.
then in the future, look out for the MetalTower 20-year anniversary show, which is also going to double up as my 50th. It's on my 50th birthday.
True. When's
Yeah.
that?
September 14.
Oh, I'm fucking gonna be there, man. Fuck yeah. That'd be
Smash,
amazing.
Smash
Yes.
Palace Brisbane. There you go.
Fuck yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Napier Death Fest, man. So Teeth and Nails, we were going to be playing on the Friday. We're now playing on the
Yep.
Saturday. We're
I heard.
opening. Yeah, which
Yep.
is
Cool.
awesome. So I'm going to get to see you pull triple duty, you mad bastard. Fuck
Yeah, I might be dead by the end, but hey, we'll see.
yeah. Yes. Well, Stevie Sticks, Stephen Bernstein, thank you so much for being on here, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hell yeah. Thank you to you for watching. This has been the Drop Clutch with me, Ricky V. We'll see you next time.